Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the darkest timeline. At the point in time this was recorded, it was before Christmas. It was before the festive time of year, however you phrase it. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of Christmas stuff in this one. Nativities left, right, and centre. Christmas markets, vulnerability. Shows, carol service, all of that good stuff. There's TV, no movies, I'm afraid. Plenty of games, like an absolute ton of games. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Share the podcast around, people. Go on. You know you want to. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast. The darkest timeline. Hello! How are we all doing? Are we good? Are we good? Are you? Are you? As always, if you are not, reach out, get in touch. Doesn't have to be with me, it can be with anybody, but be in touch. Drop us an email, drop us a social media message. I'm pretty sure all of the social medias will receive messages. That's what I was trying to say. Send a smoke signal. Doesn't have to be us. Just reach out where you can. Even just saying hi to somebody could make a difference. It's been a rough old week. A rough old couple of weeks, but certainly a rough week. But interesting at the same time. I've learned a lot of stuff this week. Some of those things I would like to impart on to you, lovely people. And we can kind of take it from there. No movie this week. There was a plan to watch a movie. It was going to be a Christmas movie. Yes, I know. However, a feeling of like, it didn't feel like the right time. However, that has opened itself up to a lot of TV. So if you're here for the movies, I'm afraid you are going to be disappointed. However, if you are here for some TV stuff, I've got an absolute shed load for you. And then as far as computer games are concerned, we're going to go through something I like to refer to as the end of the year blitz. But we'll get into that a little bit more because it kind of impacts other things. But yeah, we'll get into it. As this will probably be received in the new year at this point. So do excuse me talking about Christmas related things, but at this point in time, we still haven't had Christmas. But what we have had is multiple Christmas related things. So let's get started. I went to my son's nativity. It's a joyous, delightful time. As you go through the years, something I discovered recently is obviously they stop. I didn't discover this recently. I've known it for a while. But anyway, I've been reminded recently is obviously they stop doing a nativity at a certain point. My you know something? Now I've said it, I think I'm talking bullshit. My middle daughter did a nativity. But I think it is the last one. I don't think they do one for the last couple of years of school. Don't quote me on this. Like I say, I don't seem to know my ass from my elbow, especially at the moment. They switch over to doing other activities that you still have to go and watch, just not nativity. But if you work backwards, my youngest daughter, she did her nativity, saw it. It was great. Work it back from there. We've got a Little People nativity. Now let's talk real for a few moments here, shall we? Little People nativity is not going to be the Hollywood production that you maybe expect it to be. It's going to be, they're going to play to their strengths, so they're going to target the older children, which admittedly my son is now one of those older children. They're going to target them to do the heavy lifting. Bear in mind, it is a preschool thing. The children will be of a certain age. So, there are the older in that age group, but there are still, younger ones, and they're just there to sort of pad out the singing bits. Going back to when my youngest daughter was there, they always use the same venue. This venue is notorious for one particular thing, and that is, if you are on the front row, you might stand a chance of seeing your child and other children doing said nativity. Outside of that, you are fucked. Because it's all on one level. The seating is all laid out in a particular way. And if there is anybody in front of you, that is it. You cannot see anything. I turned up there. I walked to get there, whereas the rest of them had driven because they were coming from elsewhere and I was coming from home. So I walked around. Got there nice and early, get a good seat, and that went well because I was 2 rows from the end. I sat down, looked, went, not only can I not see my child, the child I am here to see, I can't see any children, like literally any children. And Leanne's like, oh, he's down there at the front, And I'm like, even better, 0 chance of seeing him. It's a very enjoyable thing to people watch, rather than going for the production that you cannot see. You can then just switch over to, well, if I can't see what I came for, maybe there's other stuff to look at. So I like to watch the people, and the people are, the moment somebody that isn't in the front row stands up, chaos ensues. Everybody's like, well, now I can't see, so I need to stand up. And I need to stand over at the side. So the walls down the side of the seat area are lined with people. Half of the seats are empty because the seats are completely redundant. And it's just camera first, Jesus Christ, how old am I? Phones with people taking pictures and video left, right and centre and all of this. And I'm just sat chuckling to myself because I'm like, why are we here? I know what we've come for, but nobody can see anything that's going on right now. So why are we here? So I'm just amusing myself, watching all the people laughing, having a great time. But there was a twist. There was a twist in the tale. There was a point where they were like, oh, there's a journey. So they made the children that they were talking about at the time head off down the middle of the thing. And they did announce this early on. They were like, just so you know, people who are already sitting in the aisles, children need to walk to the end and then they need to come back. So can you keep it clear? At which point, X number of people had to then stand up and move their chairs back to where they'd found them. So there's a point where like some of the children walked down and they walked back, and that was that. And I was like, cool. Then there's a point later where they were talking about another group of people who went on a journey, and I was like, well, my son, that's one of the roles he's playing. So next thing, he walks past, and I managed to get a couple of pictures, and he walked up and he walked back down, and yeah, they finished up. It was fairly sort of quick and painless in a lot of ways, other than not being able to see a single thing that was going on. It was amusing to some degree. The thing that I was like, well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we're at in life. They were like, oh, if you'd like, there are some treats at the back. And I'm like, oh, treats. If you want to make a donation, that's great. That's fine. That's wonderful. There's a basket where you can put some money in. Or they've got a card machine. I was like, oh, the church. The church we're in right now has a card machine, yeah? For donation purposes, yeah? That's where we're at. Yeah? That's good to know. So there we go. By that point, that was all nativities done. I don't think that's technically true. I think that was Tuesday, and then Wednesday I had my youngest daughter's. And it was great. It was wonderful. It was a great time. I had my middle daughters the week before. I was unable to attend my eldest due to it being really far away, and the fact that it conflicted with other situations. So I was sad to miss that. But in her own words, you're probably all right not seeing me sing some carols. I was like, yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that I want to. So the nativities done, tick off the list. Bosh, gone. We decided to have a little early Christmas treat Wednesday. Leanne's Christmas present was to go to the Christmas market, which we've never done before, I don't think. She did say to me that she'd purchased something from a stall previous years for me. In fact, I can see them from here. But we've never gone, we've never bothered, because it's always perceived as being very busy. But we decided we would make not quite a day of it, but a sort of a time of it, and we went. And yeah, it was it was good. She wanted like all these particular foods that they were doing, so we went and got the first one, like steak and chips. Turns out that my son really likes steak and chips. So there you go. Guessing he's not going down the vegetarian route then. And while they were eating that, I ran off and picked up some brownies from this very nice brownie place. Spoilers, but those brownies were amazing. And we nipped out and did some like shopping in various shops and stuff, pick up some bits and bobs here and there. And then we went back to do the crumble. I went with the apple with chocolate custard. Leanne went with the rhubarb with normal custard. And my son went, I like the chocolate custard. So there's me like, and did you want to try some of Mummy's? Nah. Okay, that's good. Glad I didn't starve myself ready for coming here today. So he's there munching on chocolate custard and crumble and whatever. We went to another couple of stalls. We picked up another couple of items here and there. Money was spent. Christmas stuff was purchased. Jolly good time was had by all. Return, like at the moment in time that it got busy, like busy, we made a swift exit. So obviously part of the plan was to try and avoid the busyness as much as possible. That's why we're not doing it on a weekend or particular days. So we did a runner, and we also needed to get back, like I say, for, pardon me, my youngest daughter's nativity, which is very nice. So, all in all, a tick in a box. Now then, what I will say is, there was one place that I wanted to go and look at. And I was like, I want to look, I said before even the stalls were open, I was like, I want to go and look there for a particular item. That was how I'd sort of said it, and that was that. So at the point in time when everything's opening up and stuff, we were working our way around, and I was like, oh, that place is open, and we're heading past, so I'll just have a quick look. And there were people in there, and they were mooching around and having a look. And as we've been working our way around, we'd seen a guy who was like taking all the boards and stuff off these stalls. They have like, I suppose like door/window boards, and you just take them away and then the whole thing's open kind of thing. We'd seen him taking them off all these different stalls. That was that. So we went to look in this one, and I was sort of peering through the door to see if they even had what I was looking for. A couple of people in there with pushchairs, and this guy came around and just went fucking ape shit. Banging on about how the store wasn't open and they shouldn't be in there and they can't be in there because the place wasn't open and all this, that and the other. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, bro, that is not how you go about that. You could so easily have just been like, oh, I'm really sorry we're not open at the moment. If you just give us a few minutes to get open and set up, because we're not allowed to trade until a particular time. Shouldn't be long, just give us a couple of minutes. That would have given the exact, almost, some would say, a better result. But off the back of that, I was like, yeah, I don't want to go back there. And I don't want to buy anything. I don't want to give them any money, because that was completely uncalled for. And Leon's like urging me to go back and stuff. She's like, yeah, no, just go back, just ignore it, it's fine, it doesn't matter, all this. And I was like, no. You vote with your wallet, and I am exercising my right to vote with my wallet by not going back and not purchasing anything from there. I will say this, what makes it worse was as I turned to walk away, I was like, oh, they do have that thing I was looking for. So, yeah. obviously been having a bit of a rough time of things recently. Been very up and down, a difficult time. In our house, it's been quite difficult for variety of reasons. Difficult time of year. I'm sure by now anybody that's listened to this for more than a year or was listening this time last year will know it's a difficult time in our house. And that's just kind of, it is what it is. I've done a lot of work over the years to try and make it not so difficult. Honestly, I thought I was doing okay. And then, life likes to slap you in the face to remind you, don't ever get comfortable. So I was in this position where I was quite vulnerable, I guess, and struggling, and this was a problem, that was a problem, the other was a problem, and not really finding too much joy in certain things, not really being able to concentrate on stuff, feeling tired at the worst possible time, yet try and go to bed, I dare you kind of situation. Just all of this sort of just a particularly bad time, and we all know, like I say a lot, I'm saying a lot at the moment, I'm saying a lot these days. It's a bad time of year. It's a bad time of year for a lot of people. If anybody needs to reach out, do. But it's sort of been going. I don't know whether I would say it was going too far. It was going too much. I then started listening to. I listened to 2 podcasts back to back, not by the same people, by completely different people who weirdly spoke about exactly the same thing. And you could say, oh, well, those people were just following a trend. One of the podcasts was from 5 years ago. One of them was from last month. And I listened to them back to back. And it was sort of putting vulnerability into different light, putting male vulnerability versus female vulnerability, painting a very different picture. It was kind of a tougher picture, tougher take on it. Spoilers on that one. Women didn't come off amazing, unfortunately. And then, like I say, I went on to listen to this other one that was talking about this sort of, like I say, this vulnerability. It's okay to not be okay. And there, both of these things we're talking about, the mentality of it's okay to not be okay, but actually it's not. And I've always had this sort of, I am a firm believer in it's okay to not be okay. But I'm also a realist in a lot of ways, and I know that it's also not true. Nobody's out there giving you the time and opportunity to not be okay. And that in itself is the problem. And it's just this cyclical thing of, oh, it's okay to not be okay, but don't not be okay because we don't want you to be that way. We want you to just be okay. So you end up in this thing of you're there going, I'm not okay. And people are like, oh, can you sort that out then? Because we don't really want to have to deal with that. And you're like, hang on a minute. You literally just said to me, it's okay to not be okay. And they're like, yes, yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely okay to not be okay. But can you sort your shit out at the same time and not burden us with your problems? Also, and I don't know how else to say this, but if you could stop being such a fucking pussy as well, that'd be great. That is the message that is put out into the world, and unfortunately received loud and clear, because you're like, oh, okay, I'll I'll do that then. I mean, you did seem to say it was okay to not be okay, but I'm guessing that wasn't what you meant. What you meant was sort your shit out. Okay, got you. Cool, clear. So there's these real sort of mixed messages. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, hey, you just spent 10 minutes saying if you're not okay, reach out. And I'm like, please do. Because I know what it's like. I know what it's like when someone's like, oh, if you need anything, let me know. Oh, actually, I could do with some help with this. Oh, yeah, no. And you're like, oh, okay then. Thanks. I truly believe that's why our generation is the way it is. You know, it's okay to not be okay, but don't not be okay. Okay? We had I realised that was an abrupt ending, but I realised I was also going to say the phrase, it's okay to not be okay, about another 50 times. And I don't think anybody wanted to hear that. We had a dance show, which reminds me, I meant to go back to Leanne on the dance show, because she was like, well, you know, it's usually for a good cause, it's usually for a charity. Guessing not this one. With the astronomically priced tickets. We paid an eye-watering amount of money to go and watch our daughter in a dance show. And yeah, that's great. You know, get that on top of your paid dance classes and so on. But it is always nice to get to see your children do the thing that you're paying for them to do. So, you know, there's that. Anyway, dance show. Away we go. Now, I will say this to give dues where dues are due. It wasn't a long one. It was quite a short one, which great. I'm all for it, because there's another one which is actually in a couple of months' time, which is 3.5 hours long. No joke. And when you've got 3 children that all dance, a 3.5 hour long dance show, you are not escaping. They will be in all 3.5 hours at various different points in time. You're not getting away from that. So, look forward to me making maybe the odd comment about that in a couple of months' time. Anyway, we're not talking about that one, we're talking about this one. And this one, it was short, people. It was real short. So, knowing that I'm waiting for my child to come and dance, we have to sit through the rest. So, I decided to amuse myself. What else was I going to do? And I was like, I'm going to find the kid that's giving it their all or ruining absolutely every part of their bit. There was a point where this class came out, and one of the children was a little boy. Now, I will say this, there are a lot more boys, male children doing dancing these days. And I think it's for a variety of different reasons. I was saying to somebody today, I think a lot of it's to do with, it can help with sport, it can help with hand-eye coordination, it can help with all sorts of stuff, confidence, things like that. And I think ultimately there's a lot of people out there that are like, well, there's no reason you can't go and do dancing. So you get more boys doing it these days. There we go. But this little boy, he came out in a blue sequin shirt. It was fantastic. I was already locked in purely on this shirt. It was fantastic. He proceeds to start doing the dance. And he's doing the dance. he's doing really well with the dance. I was like, this kid's got it. He knows what he's doing. Fantastic. Dressed sharp dance moves. He's killing it. Right up to the point he wasn't. Having done multiple fantastic dance moves, he decided, hang on a minute, this is not the reason I am here. The reason I personally am here is to wave at my parent, and proceeded to wave at whoever was there to see him for the rest of the dance performance. And I was there for that moment. I was just there for it. I was like, this is fantastic. This is worth the money alone just for this. We had the child that decided, do you know what's a great idea? I'm going to say that if I can face plant off this 5-foot stage, because they'd done something which resulted in them being at the very edge of the stage, so much so that the dance teacher had to run in and grab them before they went sailing off the stage. And I'm like, this is the best. This is the absolute best. I don't like to criticise, and I don't like to criticise when it's something that I could not do better myself. There was a point in time where somebody came out on the stage and I went, don't you fucking dare. Because if we are there to watch a dance show, that's why we're there. We're there for dancing, not for anything else. And somebody walked out and made it very clear that they were not walking out to do dancing. And I was like, fuck off. We're not here for anything other than dancing. All you are doing right now is wasting my motherfucking time. And my time is precious. My time is money. My time is the money that I have paid to be here to see my daughter dance. And that hasn't happened yet. So you are wasting my fucking time. And you are wasting everybody's fucking time right now. So there are two choices here. One, you best do the best fucking performance that anybody has ever seen right now. There better be fucking tears by the end of this. Or get off the stage. That was my take when I saw somebody walk out to do what I knew was not dancing. And they proceeded to do something that was not dancing. Or any of the other things I mentioned. And I was like, you sons of bitches. So there was that. There was... going to hold my hands up on this one. There was the point where all of these children come walking out on stage. And I was like, oh, my daughter went dressed as this. Why isn't she in this? Has she been left behind in the dressing room? Are they doing two lots of this? Is there a reason why we're doing this? Well, this whole thing's winding on at this point in time. And I'm sat and I'm looking and I'm like, that girl on the end, I'm pretty sure she's in my daughter's dance class. That's odd. It's odd to me that they would like split up the group. Class isn't going to be that big. So I worked another couple of children down the line and I was like, that girl there, she's in my daughter's dance class. Son of a bitch, where the fuck have they left her in the fucking changing rooms? Has she just got left behind and they haven't bothered going together? I looked another couple of children down. I was like, that girl, I recognise that girl. She's in my daughter's dance class. Do I need to get up and be like, hey, hang on a minute. You're missing one. I looked another couple of children down and I was like, oh, that's my daughter. Now then, hear me out for a second. Initially, when they all walked out in like a group, and then they had to line up. So it was a bit of a mess sort of situation. That's my first defence. Secondly, I wasn't aware of what hair my daughter had when she left the house because I wasn't there. I was with my son at football. So I didn't know what she looked like when she left the house. So when I saw her in her costume, I was like, oh, that's a very nice costume, Dan. She just had normal hair. When she was on the stage, she had dancing hair. And I don't often get to see this particular child with this particular hairstyle and just did not register it was her. So then I'm like, oh, right, there, yeah, we're doing it. Right, we're going. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna look engaged. But she was so serious. She came out so serious. And I was like, I know that like when they get to a certain level of dancing, they actually have to do the be serious, be stern face and straight face and all this. But I didn't think it happened at this age. And I'm looking at her like, you could probably smile, you know. And she's so serious. They came out to do like an encore bow type thing, and it was all fine. She was all smiles by then. Turned out she'd sustained an injury, a mystery injury. And that was the problem. As I said to her, if you don't know how you did it and it didn't hurt at the time, probably not that much of an issue. So, obviously we're getting to the back end of the year at this point in time. Time for reflection, people would say. All the New Year's resolutions will start soon. A friend of mine is very much one of those sorts of people who will happily tell you every day, oh, I've got to start getting better with X. I've got to do better with Y. I've got to change this about my life. I need to change this. I need to do this better. I need to be better at this. I need to be better at that. And it's reached a point now where I'm literally like, but you're not going to, because if you were, you would have done it by now? Or is that just me? But, you know, the New Year's resolutions will begin, I assure you. Somebody will say the phrase, oh, it's my New Year's resolution. If that happens, I want you to say to them, did you know that most New Year's resolutions last less than 3 weeks? 90% of New Year's resolutions last less than 3 weeks. Now, I will say this, because I can. My New Year's resolution last year, still going, baby. We're in December, and I'm still doing it. I'm going to do it tomorrow. I did it yesterday. So, you know, just saying. Just saying, bro. Just saying, brah. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. What we're here to talk about is a time for reflection. And I have already started my end-of-year reflection. I've learned 2 things this year. At the age of 45 years old, having had, as I've said in the past, my daughter just basically straight up calling me out on my bullshit. And me going, you're absolutely right about that. And you know something? I'm glad. I'm glad you've, like, my daughter called me out, Leanne called me out. If I'm honest, I think I dodged a small bullet because it was only those 2 people that called me out and it could have been worse. And after that, I was like, okay, I am saying this here and now. I am going to change that behaviour. Touch wood, as it stands at this point in time. I can't say 100%. I can't say I have changed that behaviour, but that behaviour has not repeated itself to this point in time. What I will say is this, though. sometimes it's too late. There has been a situation / scenario that fits with this that I'm still dealing with now. So sometimes the change comes too late and it has too high a cost. More recently, with some of the situations I've been dealing with recently, I've realised some other things, and I've sort of also made a commitment to look at addressing and changing and softening some of those things, which, although painful realisation, another appreciated realisation. And then, like, because I've been having these reflections and thinking about these things, I'm kind of in that thing of, I'm glad, even though, 45, no spring chicken, it's no real age to be trying to reset yourself, reset your life in a lot of ways, reset the way you go about dealing with things, dealing with other people, all this, that, and the other. I had a great podcast a few weeks back, and it changed my perspective on quite a few things, and I've kept it up. And it's affected all sorts. It's affected all different aspects of my life, and I'm super appreciative of sort of almost stumbling across these things. And I'm not, like I say, I'm like, I'm 45, and all I think is, my word, I wish I'd have realised these things sooner. I wish I'd have had the opportunity to live a life without these things in them. I'd love to go back to a younger version of myself and be like, look, you need to understand these are the things that are going to make your life better in the future. So there's a lot of reflection going on at the moment. I think there's a lot of reflection because of a lot of the things that are going on at the moment. I keep saying it, difficult time. It's a difficult time of year. I've looked at a few things recently where it's like, maybe it's time to make a change here or make a change there, make a change for the better. I do think some of these things would be changes for the better. I do think some of them have the potential not to be, but maybe you don't know until you try. So, we're all a work in progress, even at 45 years old. Final thing for the week happened this evening, and oh my freaking word. Pretty sure every year I return from this, I'm like, I'm not going next year. I went to the carol service this evening. My middle daughter was performing in the carol service at the local church, and it's often got some sort of highlight, for better or worse. This one had a few. Highlight is, it's in a church. Not a great start for me. There is a vicar. Not a great start. And they're going to sing some carols. Not a great start. So we're already off to a bad start. But I like to see my children. I like to support them in what they're doing where possible. As I say, see previous statement about my eldest. So I'm there. I've taken my youngest daughter with me. Because it's a thing. There's this thing we do where we go places and we do things together. It's a nice time. We talk and we chat and we have a good time, and even if the thing itself isn't necessarily the best, we still have a good time, and that's important. Get there, no seats. Apart from on the second row, 2 seats, just plain as day. And I said to my daughter, I'm like, why don't you see if you... Because one of her friends is sat there. I'm like, why don't you see if you can go and sit there? She goes, she never came back. I'm like, oh, shit. So I said to the lady who was sitting the other side of these 2 spaces, I was like, is anybody sitting there? She's like, no. I was like, then in that case, I think I might sit there. And that was that. So my middle daughter, she was straight in eye line. Great. We got seats, got sat, got there early, got started. Could see my daughter. I had my other daughter with me. Bing, bang, boom. Away we go. The vicar comes. While we're waiting, let's sing a song. I was like, fuck. When we were doing this thing at the weekend, I'm sure she kept saying Lego. I was like, what? She's like, we sang Jingle Bells. Do you guys know Jingle Bells? Let's sing Jingle Bells. I was like, let's fucking not. And let's get on with the reason we're here. Because I know it's 5-2, but pretty sure everyone's here right now. So let's just get the fuck on with it, shall we? So everybody sang Jingle Bells. Wonderful way to pass our time. Then they go into the service, carol service. So you've got like the teachers doing their bit and stuff. Then they sing the first song, and I'm like, okay, we are 1 song in. There was a program, and the program had the words for the songs, and you could see how many songs they were going to do, and you could kind of gauge how long it was going to take. And they'd already said it was going to be like 45 minutes, and I'm like, that's fine, they'll be singing and stuff. They did the nativity story, which, honestly, by this point in my existence, I have 0 time for. So, having had the 3rd rendition in the last 2 weeks, I was fucking over this by this point. But anyway, away they go. And then they do the 2nd song, and as they're about to start the 2nd song, they say, so, if you can stand, please stand and join in. And I went, fuck. So we stand up. I do not want to be hypocritical in a situation like this, so I don't join in and I don't sing, and I'm sure that people would sort of say that I was being miserable and whatever, but I think it's hypocritical if that's not your thing, which for me it isn't. Me singing along, banging it out to the cheap seats. Firstly, nobody wants to hear me sing because, my fucking God, it's like a brick being thrown into a wood chipper. And secondly, it's not my jam, okay? So there we go. I was being respectful as far as I could see. So then we sit down and some more children tell some more of the nativity. And then they say, if you can stand. And I was like, for fuck's sake. I didn't realise this was going to be an interactive carol service. So up we get again. Everybody's singing again. I'm like, fuck off. 6 times. 6 times. I feel like sending them a bill for my knee surgery that I'm inevitably going to need from the number of times I had to stand up and sit down in that fucking service. So, you know it's getting to the end. Great. You know that they're going to do a non-Christmas carol. They're going to do a Christmas song because you've got the thing in front of you and it's got the words on and you know the song. Great. We didn't get that far though, did we? Because, like I say, there's a vicar and the vicar's like, oh, I've got this thing to show everybody. And you've only been here for half an hour and we can't let you out of church in under half an hour. And I was like, the fuck you can't. So then starts showing this block of wood that's got a picture on of like the nativity and starts quizzing people. It was about that point where I was ready to burn the place down, which is ironic. Quizzing people, what's this? What can you see? What animal is this? Does anybody know what animal this is? Do you know what animal this is? I'm like, I know what animal's about to appear. A gorilla's about to appear and start tearing limbs. Get on with it. You are wasting my motherfucking time. I've been at work all day. I walked here in the rain with my daughter in the rain. I just want to get this done and go home. I've got shit to do. Oh, what is Christmas about? Well, in a church in York, it's about to be about a carol service massacre. What is the reason we give presents? Oh, cough. I was like, if you bring that microphone near me, I'm about to unload on this whole situation. They're just going on and on and on and on. And there was a point where somebody said it's about light defeating darkness. What does that mean? It's about good defeating evil. And the vicar was like, what that says is that good will always triumph over evil. And I wanted to stand up at that moment in time and go, really? Good always triumphs over evil? Yeah? Because I'm telling you right here and now, there are some pretty fucking evil people in this very room. And at no point in time has good ever won out against them. They are evil as fuck. And they're in here right now having a fucking whale of a time. So you tell me how it is that good triumphs over evil when evil is among us on every single day in everything we do, getting away with it. Then they got into doing the non-Christmas song, and the non-Christmas song was full of outfits and very enthusiastic singing, of which I didn't join in on because, you know, I ain't there for that. I'm there to watch and enjoy and then go home. And they finished, and then, oh yeah, we're going to do a donation. I was like, of course we are. Why would we have an opportunity to not spend money at this point in time? And then we left and walked home in not quite the rain, but yeah. I get home, I'm like, I tell you what, I am not going next year. That was the point where I realised, my youngest daughter will be old enough to join up with the carol service this time next year. So 2 of my children will be in it. Phenomenal. I honestly thought I could say to, like, my middle daughter, look, I really don't enjoy the interactive singing part of the carol service, and apparently that is what we're there for. I think I'm going to give it a miss next year. I don't think I can do that when there's 2 of them. But we'll see. Right, let's talk about some TV. First one is the one I've watched most of, apparently. I have written an episode down which I haven't finished, so bear with me. I have watched Season 3 of Tokyo Ghoul, episode 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and have started 10. Now, when I've Googled how many series there are, it says that there are 4 series, but that series 3 is essentially split into 2. Having just started episode 10, I'm thinking that Netflix has potentially put all of the episodes on as just one series. What I can say is this: it's got a lot better because they're explaining a lot more. Each episode seems to have some sort of Generally like a fight, and then some sort of like, oh, this person's really this person, and this person's really dealing with this situation, and oh, you don't know, but this person's got this going on. So there's a lot more backstory, even though it's hard to keep track of who's who. Like I was watching an episode this morning when I was on the treadmill, and there was like this person, and they were in charge, and all this, and I was like, I think this might be the first time you've been in this series. It's episode 9. I don't know who the fuck you are, but that could just be me. I'm not necessarily saying it's the series. I'm saying it could be me just not even realising. It's a lot better than it was, but knowing that there's no more and knowing that there's potentially only a few episodes left, I'm probably still in the camp of they could have not bothered. They could have done 2 series which would have both been fantastic and just left it at that. And I know there's a camp of people who would have been like, oh my God, there's so much more you could do. I would have been in the other camp. I would have been in the camp of people who were like, phenomenal. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. So this series largely doesn't cater for me, even though I am quite enjoying it. Speaking of series I am enjoying, the Terminal List, Dark Wolf. At last we spoke. I'd only watched the first episode. Since then I've watched episode 2, 3, 4 and 5. Not going to lie on this one. This series is great. I have really enjoyed this series. It's been a while since I've had a series where I've been like, this is really good. Like, really good. Like, you want to watch another episode. You want to know what's happening. There's been twists and turns and ups and downs. And they've had this whole thing where they're like, oh, we've got this. There's a new character. Here we go. And he's great. And, oh, you don't need to worry about him, buddy. He's good. He's good people. And he's going to help us get it done. Oh, he's dead. And you're like, what happened to he was good people and he was going to help us get it done. What happened to that? Because he's dead. Is he actually dead, or is he just kind of dead? Is he dead? Oh, he's dead. Oh, okay. That seems odd. And then you'll have like, oh, it turned out that this person was a traitor. No. Wait, they weren't a traitor. They were doing something else. That wasn't traitor-like, but it wasn't quite in line with what they would. Okay, all right. So they're a good guy. Okay, cool. Oh, they're dead. Oh. Okay. So there's been a lot of that, and it keeps it real, like you're proper, like on your head. Also, for a lot of it, I was like, hands down, there's going to be a bad guy. Because they basically tell you that very early on. They're very much like, how did they know? How did they know? They could have only known if there was a mole or a leak or whatever. So you kind of get that impression early. But they absolutely throw multiple curveballs. 2 things I've struggled with. One, there is a character who is actually played by a Helmsworth brother who is so incredibly stereotypical. It's painful, but the stereotype that they played seems super outdated. Like the kind of stereotype you're like, we're not doing like 60s Bond here. Like I watched like recent Bond movies and really struggled with them because I felt like some of the themes were really outdated. Because I just don't think you can do certain themes nowadays. So when you have this character, you're like, that character's really outdated. I don't really know what exactly we're doing because that person just does not exist nowadays. There was that. Secondly, something happened in the last episode we watched. Somebody was being tortured. I always find like torture scenes to be strange. I think it's largely because I know that I would absolutely... You know those people who are like, oh, we're going to torture you, and they're like, don't. I will tell you anything you need to know. That would be me. Something, before I get to this bit, something that was mega, mega, mega weird. Ethan Suplee was in an episode. He came into it. He was in it for a matter of moments and was then killed. I think he had 2 lines. And the whole time I'm like, what was the fucking point in that? Why bother having him in it? At all, you could have got anybody to play that role. That seems very strange. And then I started going, is he actually dead? So, in the last episode, somebody was being tortured. And they were being tortured and tortured and tortured. And it was going on for a very long time. And there was a lot of like, oh, I can heal you. Or I can, torture you. It's up to you. All this. This went on for the entire time. To the point where the person was like, okay, I will tell you. And the thing they revealed was like, there was absolutely zero reason to go through any of that torture. You could have said that at the very start of the process and just be like, look, hold my hands up on this one. I'm a good guy, so we don't need to do this, and I'll tell you whatever you need to know. But apparently not, which just did not make any sense. It really, really confusing. So, other than a couple of minor things, super enjoyable, really enjoyable. Weird thing is, having watched 5 episodes, there are only 2 episodes left. A 7-episode series. That's weird. Is it not? Is that not weird? No? Okay. Computer games. Weirdly, I have played some VR this week. However, I've not written it down because I played a couple of demos which didn't really gel with me. And then I played Pistol Whip for an hour. So, nothing huge to write home about, but I have got that. The VR itch. No, not one that requires a tropical cream. Just, there's a couple of things that I want to play. I was basically holding off because I was absolutely convinced I was going to get the Deadpool VR game. That hasn't happened. And I was also holding off for Gunman Contracts because I was reliably informed it was coming out this year. And that has also not happened and isn't going to. So, I'm in a bit of a limbo state at the moment, but there has been the itch. So let's talk other computer games, of which there are many. So, the end of each year, I like to do a thing where I basically go to the sale, the end of year sale, often for the PlayStation, and I basically just go through it going, what games are A, on a hell of a sale, and B, are games that I didn't pick up originally because they were so eye-wateringly expensive, but now are dirt cheap. I stumbled into this world of, if you buy this game as a standard edition, it'll cost you 50, 60, or even £70. If you buy the definitive edition of this game, it will cost you 13. So, topped up a load of PlayStation vouchers and picked up 3 games over the last week. Game number 1, UFC. Let's just call them all definitive editions. I think they all do have different, like some will be like a deluxe or whatever. But let's just go with definitive edition. £50 for the standard edition. I think this one was maybe 20 on sale. I have played this game before. I believe it was through Game Pass. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a game that I actually considered continuing paying for Game Pass, or at the time, I even looked at buying. However, like I say, 50 quid. Never going to happen. Picked up for a small amount of money, and I've played it extensively to the point that I am currently heavyweight world champion. and I've had 3 title defences so far. Tried to see if my youngest daughter wanted to play. She did not. Found it too stressful. Had a mini meltdown and said she never wanted to play it again. I was like, okay. Next on the docket, Mortal Kombat 1. Mortal Kombat 1, £60. Definitive Edition, $12. I don't like Mortal Kombat. There we go. That is my statement. However, I always try and convince myself that I do. So every now and then I will pick up a Mortal Kombat game that is cheap, and I will then attempt to play it whilst cursing not only myself but the game itself. The definitive edition of Mortal Kombat 1 gives you all of the character packs. So if you want to play as Homelander or Omni-Man, I've got you covered, bro. Started the story, and yeah, it's been good so far. It's Mortal Kombat, but ever so slightly better. So, and it teaches, you can do like a tutorial and stuff, and it'll teach you to play the game. There was a Mortal Kombat game, I think it was maybe 8, that I got a little too into, and it consumed me quite a bit to the point where I was trying to do a 25 button press combo from memory and succeeded. Realised, oh, I could do so many other things with my time and brain power, turned it off and never went back to it. I played a little, like a 2-player, but against the computer. That was alright. Obviously, for me, I have to dial the difficulty level so low that I'm like, are we really playing at this point in time? But, you know, I like it. Tiny little amount of DC Universe this week. I've been trying to pick up the Christmas, festive, whatever you want to call it, holiday season stuff. But with having a lot of other games, it's been difficult. And once again, I'm in that world of, I've got all these different characters going at the moment, and I just don't know which to really sort of settle in on. I've got a character that I'm really enjoying at the moment, but it's not my big character. So I feel like when I'm playing as one, I'm not doing any justice to the others, which, as you can maybe imagine, is a bit of a problem. Dying Light 2 had a little bit of a problem with it. Loaded it up, had to do this big parkour bit, big free running bit, and just kept falling to my death. It was at a point in time where I wasn't super I don't know what you call it. I was like, games weren't really doing it for me, so having to do the same thing over and over again was a real problem for me. And in the end, I just turned it off. I did buy another game, but unfortunately, it is so much like Dying Light that I feel it's unfair to start playing that when I've still got Dying Light 2 on the go. So, yeah, decision needs making there, because if I'm not going to play Dying Light 2 anymore, then I can move on to playing Dead Island 2. Picked that up for, like, I think it was like £11 for the definitive edition. I think they wanted 50 for it, a standard edition. Last night I completed my New Game Plus run of Chronos: The New Dawn, and honestly, absolutely fantastic. I really have enjoyed this game. Not gonna lie, did enjoy it more playing it in New Game Plus. It was the game that I felt it should have been. It feels a lot like what would have been the easier mode. Been a great playthrough. I've really enjoyed it. I have started it again because there's still a lot of stuff to unlock in that game for, like, just upgrades and stuff. and having collected all the weapons but not upgraded all the weapons, I do want to sort of try and do that. So it's been fun to start it again, go through the early stages, pick up all the weapons and see what upgrades and stuff are required. Started the game with the completely unupgraded pistol, which was a bit of a difficult slog to start with, but got there in the end and managed to pick up all the upgrades. So there's that. Finally, my replacement game for Chronos The New Dawn is Sniper Elite Resistance. Picked up what is the equivalent of dirt cheap, because it's a relatively new game and they want a lot of money for it. I picked up for £26 when the asking price was £50, so not too bad. A couple of things about this game. I was aware that it's not... is it Carl Fairburn, I think, is the character from the Sniper games. I love the Sniper Elite games. They're some of my favourite franchise games. I do enjoy a good sniper game. I've enjoyed these since a friend of mine recommended them ages ago, and I've just bought every single one of them. Not having the standard usual character takes a bit of getting used to. The voice for this character's not fun in a lot of ways. And something I would say is weird. Graphically, I don't know if it feels as good, which is weird to think how great the other ones look. But maybe it's just an initial play. I completed the first level, which was fine. I enjoyed it. I was a little bit more run and gun than I normally would be in a game like that, but I did feel like I was just trying to get my feet in, get under the table, get my teeth into it. So that, in theory, will be the game I'll be reviewing a little bit more going forward. And there we go. That is it. That is the podcast for this time. I'll say this now. I hope you enjoyed the festivities for whatever it was. And yeah, I will catch you next time. So there you go. What do you think of that? Another one done. Another one gone. Big thank you for watching. Big thank you for listening. Big thank you for being here. Before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
This is a Cookie Cast production.